We're almost halfway through 2025. So have you started your New Year's resolutions yet? Have you reset and decluttered your home? Have you purged and let go of the things that no longer serve you? Or is this a repeat of last year and the year before and the year before? You know, it's time passes and it seems like things are passing by quickly or like faster. Things are moving quickly. It's like, you know, the sowing and the reaping and like the harvest. It feels like it's just like moving straight to the harvest. Like I make a decision a week ago and usually there's like this longer gestational period in between the decision and the results. But it seems like it's happening quickly, like the next week. Instead of 6 months, it's like a week or 2 weeks or something. I don't know if that's just me or if you guys are sensing that too. But I do have a sense of like, not just like urgency, but just confidently moving quicker. You know, it's not a laziness or you can have a slow paced life and still move quickly. Quickly doesn't mean chaotic and like, you know, all frantic and out of control. It could be when you're focused and you're disciplined, it's quickly moving and getting things done. So instead of spending, like, for example, if I'm cleaning out a drawer, instead of spending all day saying, I'm going to clean out the kitchen all day, I'm just knocking it out. I'm getting through it. I'm like, what don't I need? Because you get to the point where you have to decide what's important and then let go of what's not. And that's it. So you get quicker and quicker at these moves. And the moves are exactly that. What's important? What's serving me? What is coming into my future? Maybe this piece served you in the past, doesn't serve you anymore. Maybe this friendship served you in the past. You're not growing anymore by hanging out with that person all the time. Because if that person's not growing, chances are you're not growing because you're feeding off each other, especially if you hang out and you discuss and you talk. You end up, when you hang out close to somebody, you will start sounding like each other. You pick up things, you sound just like each other. So if that person is not sharpening you and you hang out with them day after day after day after day, you know, that friendship or whatever, and you're talking about the same things, but you're not doing anything. Like the amount of time that we discuss our problems with people, we could actually be solving our own problems. So if you're taking an hour to discuss and complain about problems, why don't you take that hour and do something about it? Because the talking about it might make you feel better. Like, oh yeah, this makes me feel good. I'm unloading. I'm just venting, you know. And sometimes, yeah, we all need to vent. We need to let things go. But if that is replacing you doing it, because now that time took and you're like, oh, I gotta go, the kids are getting home from school, and now all of a sudden I got laundry in the wash, you got this whole list of things to do. Well, you could have worked out during that time. You could have put on praise music and cleaned your house. You could have studied. You could have done things that are cultivated. You could have prepped food for the week. There's just other things that you can do instead of wasting the time on something that's not going anywhere. So you have to be the one to decide what's important in my life and what's not. And you let go of the rest. And don't let people influence you to the point that you start shifting and trading those things that are, you know, important just to please them. So if somebody is intimidated by you or they're not doing what they should be doing, don't let that person plant seeds in your life. Because the problem is, like, let's say you're really focused on something and you have a friend that's like, man, you're obsessed, or you're just, you know, you need to back up. You need balance. Like a lot of times people say, well, you need balance. Well, if you're really focused on something and that person's like, hey, just back up for a while, you know, just, let's just go drink and talk about it, or, you know, all this stuff. Well, yeah, that might sound nice. Like, yeah, let's just go hang out, take a break or whatever. But what happens? You go out for drinks and dinner, you feel sluggish, you sleep in, it messes up your schedule the next day because maybe you're a little bit hungover, your body's not feeling right. You really didn't do anything, but then you just traded like 2 days to do what? It would have been better just to plow through it. And sometimes we have to have those people around us that say, no, push through when it sucks. Push through when it's uneasy. Push through when you're not when you don't want to, when you don't feel like it. And I'm not saying never take breaks and never slow down. I mean, you got to pause. You weave it into your life. It's like the break, you take a break. Okay, I'm going to watch a movie tonight. Doesn't mean it has to be till 1 a.m. or whatever, but you take breaks. I'm going to have a bowl of ice cream today. I'm going to enjoy the day off with my kids. We're going to go play in the pool. It doesn't always have to be grind, and to do, and all of that stuff. But what I'm saying is when you let go of the things that aren't serving you anymore, and you let go of the people that are pulling you in all these different directions, like you go so much, like the movement, the quick movement is because you're going in a straight line. You're not all over the place. You're not like, oh, I'm going here, I'm going there, I'm driving all over physically, or I'm, people are pulling me all these different ways because of their opinions and what they think I should do, and their, what they're doing, and they don't like what I'm doing. How many people are they're bothered by your growth. Just let them be. They're going to be bothered by your growth if they're not growing themselves. It always happens. And then they want to debate and argue with you about, well, I believe this and you believe this. Okay, well, the results tell the truth, always. So at some point, you have to look at the fruit of that person's life, the fruit or the results. And I'm not talking about like the little results. I'm talking about like the patterns over years. So what is the chronic pattern that this person has been in for years? Just look at their life. Look at the results. Are they talking about the same thing they were talking about 10 years ago? I know people close to me, family members, who are still talking about the same thing from 20 years ago. They're still bringing it up. They're still talking about it. It still bothers them. They're still living in it while they age and their life passes them by. I mean, it's really sad because life is passing you by. You're growing older, whether you like it or not. You're aging. Your body's following what your mind does and what your words say. So if you are just chronically living in a situation of the past, you're so traumatized you can't get over it. You got to get over it. You have to get over the hurt and the pain. You have to. Start doing the opposite. Start living the opposite. If the hurt and pain causes you to drink or to do drugs or to not face the things or to consume, just chronically shop or just binge watch TVs, you're in this comfort bubble. And I know there's this big trend about it, like, well, I'm too young to be uncomfortable or whatever, and the people are just laying around. I know it's probably a lot of it's fake, everybody's working and doing something, but it's this trend like, oh yeah, let's just lay around all the time and just drink my coffee with my stir and like be so ignorant to everything that's going on, and I'm just gonna read this mystery book, romance book, and stick to myself. And, meanwhile, you're just doing that day after day, thinking it's so cute and trendy, and it's not, because you're putting on weight, your body's in a sedentary state, so you're inflamed, and then you're wondering why you have these problems because your body's not moving. You're reading some ridiculous book that has nothing to do with your actual life. And you're packing on fit calories and sugars and carbs and stuff because you're drinking a high calorie intake drink. So the results tell the truth. So the results over time, the patterns and the habits over time are producing the results that you're getting. And you could have all this wisdom in here. Like you could be like, I know I'm better than this. I'm smarter than this. Well, knowing and doing are two different things. At some point, we have to push ourselves, give ourselves a little kick. And do it, and do what we know needs to be done. That closet eventually needs to be cleaned out. It has to be dealt with. The storage unit has got to be dealt with. Those clothes that you're never going to wear need to be dealt with. It's like your shopping addiction needs to be dealt with. All of these things, your food addiction, not thinking about what you're doing, saying, eating, like just moving into action without thinking, at some point that all has to be dealt with because it will pop up. Everything comes to light at some point. And you could have all the great intentions in the world. You could have all the great intentions, all the goals, all the desires, all the wonderful things that you say, I'm going to do this one day. But the habits, again, are creating what you are getting. And if you are not willing to change and you're not willing to really confront those habits that are not good or not serving you, then you deserve the result you're getting. I mean, there's no nice way of saying it. You deserve it. If you're a chronic complainer, you deserve the fruits of what chronic complaining does. Because you know what chronic complaining does over time, not only does it push everybody away from you because they don't want to hear your complaints, but you're creating your environment as you complain. It's like you're allowing more things to complain about because you're coming in agreement with what you don't want. And you're thinking it and you're vocalizing it. And then what happens? More things happen that you don't want. It's like you are creating these things because you're in agreement with that. You are on the same frequency as that. So you notice people who are negative, they see negative things. Like you could be looking at this beautiful view and then be like, oh yeah, well there's a bum sitting right over there. Do you see him? No, I don't see him because I'm looking at the mountains or I'm looking at the trees or whatever. But they'll spot that thing and then they'll take it and might say something like, well, we don't deserve to be here because of that. So it twists everything around. Somebody who's negative and complains, they twist things. And their life moves into action because it's so twisted. Because, you know, I know people who they hate everybody who has money. They can't stand them. Why? They either think it's evil, that person's bad, they must have got something to get that way. Well, what if they just worked hard and didn't spend all their money and they saved it? What if, like, you don't know what that person has or doesn't have or what they're going through, but they'll immediately be like, well, I just don't like that this person has this. Well, focus on it doesn't have anything to do with you, but you're spending your time in your life focused on what you hate about other people instead of focusing on what you can change within yourself. Because when you change, things around you change. When you take responsibility and ownership and discipline and stop being a victim, things in your life start changing. It's like you're either a victim or a victor. At some point, you have to switch over and say, okay, I've allowed this to go on as long as I can. Now, some areas you might have experienced being an actual victim, and that's different. But most of the time in our day-to-day life, we are acting as if we are a victim and we're not. So you can't be both. I've had people, write me and, oh, the world's this. And yeah, there's a ton of horrific things happening right now. And if you are familiar with what the Bible says, it actually all lines up. So there's no real big surprise. The other thing is, like, when you see something coming a year ago, there's no big surprise when it actually comes, because you already know, well, this is going to be the result of that behavior or that happening. This is just the result of that. Now that the result comes, it's, people are freaking out. Well, what did you think was going to happen? So you can't just, take this as however you want to take it, but you have to be like 10 steps ahead. You're tapping into what you know is already on the horizon, because you're not involved in these little ridiculous things, little stupid arguments with people, little family problems about this person and that person and everybody talking about each other. I mean, how many families waste so much time gossiping about each other, stabbing each other in the back, talking about each other? Oh, I can't believe this. I've dealt with that my whole life. It's just so ridiculous. Handle your own house, handle your own shit. Like, don't be so involved in everybody else's stuff that you think, well, just handle your own life. And if you're close to somebody and they're doing something that's self-destructive, or that's really, like, if they're doing something that's self-destructive and you have the means to help them, then obviously help them. But that person still has to they have to want to help themselves first. You can help them and they could be like, yeah, I agree. There's a difference. When somebody's ready to change, they will do whatever it takes. It doesn't matter, like, the consequences. They have addictions. They will do whatever they got to do to change, because they will start despising the things that are causing the addictions. If they're not there yet, then your help is a waste. The money that you give them is a waste. The time is a waste, because they will continue doing it because they haven't hit rock bottom. At some point, they got to hit rock bottom, and they have to have that, like, come to Jesus moment themselves. Like, you know what? It's between them and God. Like, I'm better than this. I can do better than this. I don't have to live this way. I don't have to let my lower self, live this way. But in the meantime, don't trade what you're doing for them. It's like throwing pearls to the swine. Here you go. I'm going to feed you these pearls that are worth a lot, and you're just going to eat them and poop them out and not do that. That's basically what you're doing. You have to run your race, confidently go in the direction that God has for you, make the changes that you know you need to make, get your house in order, tighten up your house, tighten things up, get your marriage in order, swallow your pride, stop being so arrogant and stubborn. Like, these are things that we develop, and it causes strife in the household. And I've been learning these because we all have that. We all have, well, I'm not the one. It's they better apologize to me. I didn't do it. They did it, or whatever. And swallow your pride. At some point, just keep peace in your house. If your spouse is telling you over and over, what's in that bag? Where'd you go? Where are you shopping? Oh, I just ran to Target. Oh, I just ran to Home Goods. It's nothing. Why don't you start listening? Clearly, it's bothering him. So if you have any respect for your spouse and that behavior bothers that person, then maybe you should check that. Get it in check, because clearly they're saying it because there's an issue there. And if there's no issue, fine. But more times than not, we're doing it behind the other person's back, and then we're lying about it, we're hiding it, and we're doing things. Now, if you have a business, I run a business out of design. There's certain things that I have that are business assets. My couch. I link the couch and I make commissions off the couch. That's just business. My husband knows that. But if you are just running to fill your own greedy desires because you can't control yourself, and you're like, well, I'm going to go running around all day, buying a bunch of junks, stopping to get fast food, you're blowing your money, you're wasting your time, and you're putting on weight, and you're filling your house with junk. These patterns and behaviors are creating your results. And I see a lot of women that say they hashtag this is 40, and they're all like busted up looking, or they make funny jokes like this is 40, this is what it's like to be 40. I'm like, then it's what it's like for me to be 40. I turned 40 and I was like, I am getting this under control. I'm not going to be one of those stereotypes, hashtag, well, this is 40. I better just be this fat slob and not care. And, and I'm not saying fat, don't be offended, but you get the point. Like, people say, well, this is 40 and now I have to deal with this. No, like, I'm in the best shape of my life. Did it take longer? Yeah. Is it harder than when you're in your 20s? Yeah. It is harder. It's harder to change when you wait a long time than it is if you do it when you're younger. But stop saying that, because you're just creating your life. You're just creating all of those circumstances to match up with, this is 40, I might as well just do this, and my hormones are all out of whack. Well, they don't have to be. You're in control of what you're putting in your mouth. You could go get hormone treatment, replacement, HRT. Like, people do it all the time. You could naturally balance your hormones. Like, there's things you can do. You can go to the gym. That naturally balances your hormones. You could de-stress in a healthy way. There's so many things we can do than just be like, well, I'm not as great as I used to be. You can be great till the day you die. It doesn't matter. Is it harder? Yeah. Does your body change? Yeah. Do you lose muscle mass? Yeah. Does your skin sag more? Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you have to be like, you hit 40 and all of a sudden you're sick and decrepit. Be careful what you come into agreement with and what you are allowing in your life. If you're coming into agreement with things that you don't want, lower things of chaos, strife, lies, like when, like if somebody says, well, this is for it, be like, well, I rebuke that, because you may want that, but I don't. So I'm not even going to laugh about it or engage in it, because I don't want that. I want this is 40s to be like, I feel good, I look good, I'm doing what God's called me to do, and I'm running my race, I'm healthy. So I speak those things, and that's the direction that I move in. I speak it. So you meditate on it first. Basically, you're just getting it inside, right? I get the word in the inside, God's word. I get that on the inside. I think it. That's what meditating is. You're thinking it. You speak it. When you speak it, it's going like back into, you're circulating it back. This is why your words are so important, because what you speak turns out to be true in your life, even if it's a lie. Think about that. You will move in the direction of your words, even if it's not true. So I speak what I want. My cells function a heavenly perfection. I will fulfill my destiny in optimal health. You know, if God is for me, who dare be against me? Like, I will, like, so you just speak these truths over your life and then you walk in them. Well, I can't just speak them and do nothing, right? That's the first part of it. The second part takes action. You have to move into action and you're going to move into those things of what you're speaking to believe, what you believe.